Hello, everybody. Welcome to this chat, this presentation, should I say, about biological sciences. It's great to have you here. With me, we've got Professor Colin Hewitt, who is the head of the school. We also have Dr. Sally Pridgeon, who is the senior admissions tutor, and they're going to talk you through biological sciences. And throughout the chat, throughout the presentation, should I say, there's a Q&A session going on. So if you've got any questions whilst the presentation is being delivered, feel free to pop those in and we'll cover those questions at the end of the session. So without much further ado, I'll hand over to Professor Hewitt and he'll lead a presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Sam. Just for everyone's information, this presentation is being recorded, so if you don't get to see everything that you want to see now, or you have internet problems, you can come back to it later. So I'm Colin Hewitt, I'm the head of the school, and what I want to do is just to introduce the university and the school to you. So why Leicester then? Well, there's great reasons to come to the School of Biological Sciences, which Sally is going to tell you about in a minute, but there's also a brilliant reason to come to Leicester. First of all, we're one of the top 25 UK universities in the Times World Education rankings. We have graduate employment across all of our programs of 90% employability. So this comes from the government statistics that show that our students, when they have a degree from the University of Leicester, do go on to do great things in employment. In terms of sustainability, we're the 21st university in the world for sustainability, and we are just at this very moment in the School of Biological Sciences about to attach badges to all of our module pages showing which sustainability development goals those modules actually address. We're the third most affordable city, which is great for students in financial straits, as they will be, because there won't be many jobs out there. And we're also one of the top 20, we also have one of the top 20 student unions in the country, as voted by Student Crowd. So overall, Leicester is a great place to come to. It's a friendly city, it's a compact city, the campus is compact, and when you come here, if you can come here on a physical open day, you'll see just how friendly all our staff are. So why would you want to come here to study biological sciences? Well, when you come here, you're not just coming here to learn, you're not just coming here to be a student, you're actually coming here to become part of a community of researchers and teachers. If you look at these slides here, these pictures here, we have a number of different research areas that we're incredibly strong in. So precision medicine, the idea that you have medicine that is tailored to the individual. We have cardiovascular, neuroscience, respiratory disease, cancer groups, all working on this aspect of tailoring medicine to the genetics and characteristics of different individuals. Down here we have genetics. We do genetics, not just genetics on humans, we do genetics on the eusociability of insects, genetics on plants, on crops, on food sustainability. And then up here we have one of our great pieces of equipment that we have in the university. It's a nationally renowned piece of equipment, a cryo-electron microscope. And the idea there is that you can actually look at molecules. You can look at molecules interacting with each other, and you can work out how those molecules interact with each other and how you can actually put a molecule in between them to stop them interacting with each other to make a new drug. Down here, we have something that's also very current at the moment. These things here are called bacteriophages. So these are actually viruses that are in the environment that interact with bacteria and kill those bacteria. And so what's happening at Leicester is there's a massive amount of research going on to harness the power of these bacteriophages to kill bacteria that are causing human disease. So as well as having a fantastic community of teachers and researchers, you'll be taught by these researchers, don't forget. We also have a lot of satisfaction in our programs. And the National Student Survey, 91% of students were satisfied with our teaching. As I've mentioned, all our teaching is research inspired by these great people who are working on all these projects over here. And we have award-winning lecturers. We have lecturers who've won collaborative teaching awards nationally. We have national teaching fellows on the staff who are able to use their skills in pedagogy, in teaching science, to actually help other teachers teach you better. So we have a great science research and great science teaching base to work with you to get what you need to do. Sally's going to tell you about the programs that we have, but a key thing to keep in your mind as she goes through that presentation is that these are flexible programs. You can switch and chop and change up to a certain point throughout your program so that you can follow your own interests as they develop. They may not be the same as when you're 17, 18 and you apply. You might want to do a different type of subject. In addition to that, we also have opportunities to enhance your CV. There are years abroad, there are years in industry, there's a Leicester Award, which is a volunteering and a self-reflection aspect of your study. There are a huge number of ways to make your CV stronger. And of course, if you want to transfer to medicine, then at the end of the first year, you do have that opportunity. And Sally will give you more of the details about that. So, as well as doing all those broad areas of research, we are also one of the leading lights in the country on COVID-19 research. So at the moment, we've got the third greatest amount of funding for COVID research in the UK. And we're collaborating with all the other ones that you will have heard of on the TV and the radio. Some of the examples of this are new proteins that are going to be used to block the entry of viruses into cells. So if the virus can't get into the cell, you can't get the infection. You can't get the disease, rather. We have a study looking at the long health effects of COVID-19. Many of you would have heard of long COVID, the sort of post-viral syndrome that comes after COVID-19. Prof. Chris Breitling in the Institute for Lung Health is looking at that process and how that actually works. Leicester was the first university or the first research institution to come up with the discovery that people of BAME ethnicity are actually far more susceptible to COVID-19 than white British people. And then finally, Mike Bearer, who's pictured here, is pioneering the use of 3D printed strips inside masks to collect the collect exhaled virus and then analyze it in a particular way to look for early detection of virus. So looking for exhaled evidence of infection. Finally, we're not just all about the teaching and the learning, we're also about creating individuals who are going to make a massive contribution to society and the world. We're looking for people who can be citizens of change. So we're looking for students who not only know things, but they also have empathy and they have the ability to care for others. We're looking for people who can treat everybody with respect. We're looking for people who are going to thrive by taking on responsibility in leadership positions, and also the skill to manage uncertainty. This is going to be very unlike A-level. The answers won't be there. You're going to have to weigh up the decisions between different evidence. We're looking for people who are resilient, who can fight their way through difficulties, not just academic difficulties, but difficulties in being away from home and starting new things that they're unfamiliar with. We're also looking for people who can solve problems, because these are the people who are going to make that difference in later life. People who can see through a problem, who can actually make those changes and thereby become a genuine citizen of change. So what I'm going to do now is I will be handing over to Dr. Sally Pridgeon, who's our senior admissions tutor, and I'll do that by shutting down this one and passing you over to Sam again, who will introduce Sally.
Oh, hi again. Well, we actually, you saw Sally briefly for a moment there. So whilst we sort out the transfer of the presentations, just a quick reminder to get your questions in on the Q&A. And we'll answer those questions at the end of the session. It could be related to the course, it could be related to the opportunities, it could be related to the entry requirements. Do feel free to ask any questions that you have, and we'll quickly get over to the next set of slides.
Okay, sorry for that little technical hitch. It's a learning experience for all of us. My name's Sally Pridgeon. This is our first live open day talk, and I'm going to talk you through the courses that we have on offer in biological sciences. So we have a very wide variety of different degree courses, 24 in fact, and they're generally grouped into two different flavours, the biological science courses and the medical sciences courses. We also have, new for this year, a BSc in clinical sciences. So if you see on this slide, all the degrees shown in black, these are 3-year BSc courses. And for each of the BSc courses, we offer a 4-year option, an MBiosci. So if we look firstly at the biological sciences, you can choose to do a very broad biological sciences degree, or you could choose to specialise in any of the different topics shown here in biochemistry, genetics, microbiology, neuroscience, physiology and pharmacology or zoology. In the medical sciences, we offer 4 undergraduate programmes in medical biochemistry, medical genetics, medical micro and medical physiology. And again, we offer 4-year options in all of these. So I'm going to briefly take you through. Thank you. So at Leicester, normally under normal conditions, you'd have a diverse learning opportunities. We'd have lectures, practicals, tutorials, drop-in sessions, computer classes, presentations, group work, poster sessions, independent study. Things are changing, and in the question and answer session afterwards, we can perhaps talk about how we're adapting our learning experience for our students. A typical first year week would consist of about 8 lectures, 3-hour practicals, 2 3-hour practicals, 1 to 2 tutorials and drop-in sessions with a total of about 18 contact hours. Could you change, please? You've got control. I haven't got control.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I just give you a snapshot of our courses. In the first year, we have a common first year for all biological sciences and all of the medical sciences. So in the first semester, all students, all 300 or so students, will take 2 modules, the molecules of life and the cell. So you'll get a broad introduction to biochemistry, cell biology and microbiology. In the second semester, again, all students will take 2 modules, individuals to populations and multicellular organisation. So that's an introduction to physiology and genetics. And then the first year only differs for the medical science students and the biological science students by 1 module. So the biological science students take a module on biodiversity and behaviour, whereas the medical science students take a module on medical sciences. And this is an interesting topic. It addresses different medical questions from a multidisciplinary approach. So, for example, one of the interesting topics is cancer genomics, which can be studied from a biochemistry perspective, a physiology perspective, genetics perspective, and even a microbiology perspective. So the common first year has many advantages. Firstly, it brings all students up to the same level. In order to study biochemistry, you also need an understanding of genetics and other aspects of biological sciences. But the key benefit, it means that you can actually change your mind. At the end of the first semester, you've all done the same modules, so you can change to any of the different degree programs that we offer. Even at the end of the year 1, you can change within the biological sciences, or if you've selected medical biochemistry, for example, you could change to any of the other medical sciences. Next slide, please. Okay, Colin briefly mentioned the transfer to medicine option at the end of year 1. There are certain criteria. In order to be able to apply for this transfer to medicine, you need to have appropriate A-level subjects, at least a B in biology or chemistry, GCSE maths at grade 6 or above, an up-to-date UCAT score, and you also have to show an ongoing commitment to medicine through volunteering. And then at the end of year 1, if you're a biological sciences student, if you have marks over 70%, you're eligible to apply for transfer. And for this year, 48 students applied to transfer and 15 were successful. The new degree, the clinical sciences, is going to offer the opportunity to transfer after year 1 onto year 2 of the medical programme. So this has obviously many benefits, and the reason for this is that the clinical sciences BSc is going to share most of the medical school programme in the first year. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the modules, but in year 2 is when you begin to specialise. You select modules to suit your interests. All students will take one module on a research topic, which is basically developing a research proposal on a specific topic, working in groups. And then you'll select 3 additional modules from the first semester and 4 modules from the second semester. And if you're generally studying biological sciences, you have pretty much a free choice of modules. But if you want to specialise, you will need to take core modules for your subject. So, for example, molecular and cell biology and biochemistry of nucleic acids are modules which you would select for biochemistry, alongside other modules of your choice. Next slide, please. Okay, so in year 3, again, in biological sciences, it's a modular degree. Again, you have a wide variety of choice of modules. All students will undertake a research project of some form, either an experimental educational project, an analytical or steered experimental project. And then you will take 2 modules in the first semester and 3 modules or 2 modules in the second semester, depending on which type of project you choose. And again, you can see you've got a wide choice of modules, and depending on what you've specialised in, again, there will be key core modules. So, for example, for biochemistry, you will be required to take structural biology in semester 1 and cancer cell and molecular biology in semester 2, alongside other recommended modules. Next slide, please. Okay, so that was the biological sciences. You might be asking what distinguishes the biological sciences from the medical sciences. Well, if you're studying one of the medical sciences, you'll have the same choice of modules that the biological sciences students had in years 2 and 3, but you will be required to take 1 core module in both year 2 and 3, which is specific to your degree programme. And these are indicated in the current slide here. Next slide, please. Okay, so a real benefit of your final year is the opportunity to do real original research. If you choose to do an experimental project, you'll spend 10 weeks working alongside international and nationally acclaimed researchers in a laboratory, and you'll have your own unique project. And just an example of such a project from last year was targeting stem cells for cancer prevention. But a diverse array of projects are available. If you do a steered experimental project, this is a slightly shorter project. It'll be completed in semester 1. And here you'll be working with a group of other students on a project, working on very related projects. An education project is useful if you're thinking of working in education. You could work in a school and design perhaps some learning resource or investigate the way students learn. And an example of such a project here is tablet computers, the placebo effect. Can iPads improve learning in year 4 age children? And then if you know that you don't want to do a research project in a lab, you're not really interested in education, you can undertake an analytical project in which you'll analyse data or literature sources and complete an analytical project. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so that's our 3-year courses. For our 4-year courses, There's a foundation course, and this is designed for students who perhaps have a lot of potential but haven't quite got the predicted grades you would need to get into year 1 of the biological sciences course. And here you'll study modules to bring you up to speed so that as long as you pass, you can enter year 1 of any of the programmes. Then the 4-year MBio-Sci, you would complete the normal 3-year BSc course, but there would be an additional year at the end where you would join one of the MSc programmes that are on offer within the school. And you would do the taught phase of the MSc programme, followed by a 3-month project, which would give you enhanced research experience. Next slide, please. Okay, so you have plenty of support while you're at university. It's challenging times, but you'll all have a personal tutor to guide you. And new for this year, personal tutors are also going to be your academic tutor in year 1. So you'll get to know your tutor very well, both in an academic environment, and they will be your personal tutor for the entire 3 years while you're there. There's also plenty of support at the university from student welfare if you need it, but module directors, the people who teach you, are all very accessible and supportive, and you're always welcome to ask your teachers anything that you don't quite understand. Also new for the last year, we've introduced a Study Well programme to support students as they adjust to university life. So here students work in groups. They're guided by more senior students as well as an academic, and it gives you the opportunity to reflect on how you're adjusting to university, to reflect on your feedback and how you can get the most out of your time at university. Okay, next slide. So you'll have plenty of opportunities at Leicester. We have a study abroad and a year in industry programme between years 2 and 3. So hopefully by the time that you get to year 2, we will be able to study abroad again. But previously in the past, students have visited the USA, Japan, Finland, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and gained a wide amount of experience. Alternatively, the year in industry is a popular choice. You'll be given support to apply for positions in industry, and here are just a few examples of the destinations of some of our students. All students are encouraged to get some sort of real experience, perhaps by doing a 6 to 8 week project in the summer holiday of year 2, just to get a bit of experience. We find that students that do have some significant experience really take off when they come to do their final year projects. Then we offer field trips on many of in year 2 and year 3. To such exotic places as Brazil and Mallorca. And Colin will be able to answer questions on the field trips in the question and answer session, as he's been fortunate enough to go on all of them. And then, of course, in your final year, if you do a research project, you'll have access to our excellent research facilities. Next slide, please. Okay, so you're going to be spending a lot of money coming to university. You want to have a job at the end of it. And we're very pleased that 97% of our students are either in further study or have jobs at the end of graduation, 6 months after graduation. And typically about half our students do actually go on to further study, either a PhD, MSc, medicine, law, dentistry. And others go on to work either in a scientific context, in perhaps a pharmaceutical company, or just in professional graduate entry careers. Our students are encouraged from day 1 to prepare for their future. We have employability built into one of our modules in terms of the Leicester Award and Leicester Award Gold. In particular, in biological sciences, we run a programme of of talks, careers after biological sciences, in which our alumni are invited back to speak to our students and tell them about their very diverse career paths. And in fact, the last 10 years worth of presentations are available on the website shown at the bottom right of this slide. We also have an award-winning careers service. Next slide, please. Okay, next one. So you're applying to Leicester. If you're applying to Leicester, what would we expect? Well, you'll apply through UCAS and your schools will be able to help you with that. Our typical offer for A-level would be ABB. We usually would like to have 2 sciences from biology, chemistry, maths, physics and psychology, but we can be flexible. So if you are just doing 1 science, just please inquire. We require a GCSE grade 4 in English and maths, for whatever your qualifications. But we also consider other options other than A-level. So for BTEC, for example, we would typically ask for DDD, and the IB, you can see there, we would ask for 30 points with, usually we specify a grade 6 and 5 in 2 sciences. Right, okay, that's fine. Charlotte, yes, so we're very proud of our students. Here's one of Charlotte Fawcett, has been here for a very long time. She was a graduate. She graduated here in medical genetics. She likes it so much that she's stayed to do an MSc in molecular genetics, and now she's decided to stay for yet another 5 years. She's going to be studying an MSc in medical statistics, followed by her PhD. And she really thinks that the highlights of her time here were travelling, working part-time, working with the university as a student ambassador. In fact, she's a student ambassador right now, which is why she can't be here today. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is Tom. He's a real example of a success story from Leicester. He's taken advantage of absolutely all the opportunities it has to offer. He's been on the trip to Brazil, shown on the bottom left. He spent a year working in Italy doing research, and he actually had graduated this year, and he actually got a first author publication based on his work in Italy, and that is a real achievement for someone so young. As scientists, we're judged by the papers that we published, and to be able to achieve one as an undergraduate is really quite a tremendous story. Okay. So why Leicester? Well, we've got a great choice of flexible degree programmes, plenty of opportunities I hope you've seen for self-development. Normally, we've got a fantastic sense of community, and in fact, since the lockdown, I think that has extended. It's just moved online. The staff consistently reported to be really helpful, approachable and supportive in the National Student Survey results. And it's a real shame that you didn't have the chance to come to campus today and meet us all in person. Hopefully, if things change, if you apply to Leicester and you receive an offer, we'll be able to welcome you here to campus next year. Okay. So finally, if you come to Leicester, next year we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. It's 100 years since students first came to our university. So you'll be part of our history. So if I just want to say thank you, and Colin and I are going to be available for questions.
Right, well, thank you very much for that. Very informative presentation. You've been very busy putting questions in the Q&A, and Colin has been multitasking. Not only has he been moving the slides forward, he's also been busily typing away in response to those. But we do still have a few questions that we can discuss at this point. The first of which is a very, very broad question, which is what kind of career can you pursue with these biological sciences or medical science degrees? Who would like to answer that one?
Should I take that one?
Yep.
Well, you've got a wide variety of choice of careers, really. You can work in the pharmaceutical sector, you could do scientific writing, you could work within the NHS as a clinical scientist, work in sales, medical sales. But as I said, most of our students, well, half of our students go on to study further. So you can apply your science to law if you like, or go into research, work as a research technician. You really have an awful lot of opportunities, and I don't know if Colin wants to add to that.
Yeah, there's one of the things that we actually run in the school is a thing called Careers After Biological Sciences, and that is a seminar program run by a member of staff who gets all the old students to come back and tell the current students exactly what they're doing. And the focus of this isn't necessarily on people who've gone from a biological sciences or a medical sciences degree into medical or biological sciences. It's more about those people who've decided that, okay, it was great to get all those skills that I got in the biological sciences and medical sciences degree, but I'm not sure I really want to work in a lab. So what they do is they go off and do all sorts of other things like medical writing, publishing. Some people work in procurement, in banks, all sorts of things. They change degrees through conversion courses, by doing masters. But the key point is that the ability to learn at a very high level and the ability to function and work at a very high level in analytical and critical manner is the training that we give you as a biological sciences student at Leicester. So in that seminar series, Dr. Chris Wilmot, who runs the series, has now accumulated over 70 alumni in careers that they've done really well in, that they're so pleased about that they've come back to talk to us about their non-biological sciences careers. So although 40% of our students do go on to do research or science-based projects or jobs, we do have a huge number who do other things using the skills that they get from biological sciences.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you, Colin. Just related to that, someone has asked, will I be able to work as a microbiologist with this degree? Is that the case? I would have thought so.
It certainly, as a researcher, you will be able to work as a microbiologist. If you wanted to train in the NHS scheme, you'd need to do another course, or you'd have to have a conversion course, which we may even have by the time you get here, to train as a medical laboratory officer. So yes, you would be qualified to work as a microbiologist.
That's good to know. Question now about entry requirements. I think just a bit of clarification around the entry requirements. We're mentioning 2 A's and a B, or an A and 2 B's. Is that are they the confirmed entry requirements for 2021?
Yes, it would typically be ABB for 2021. Yes. I should say for the clinical sciences, which I mentioned briefly, it would be AAB.
Okay, that's fantastic. A further question is about the year abroad. What students actually do on their year abroad, and are they particularly competitive to get into?
Yes, the year abroads, they are competitive. It depends on the capacity of the place you're going to as well, because we do operate an exchange mechanism with the Erasmus scheme. That's guaranteed for next year, but after that, we're not guaranteed about funding for that, because obviously it's Brexit. But you can still go to other places, the USA and Australia. What people actually do on those programs varies. Some people choose to do pure research, like Tom that we were talking about earlier. He just did a research project. Whereas other people, they go to Canada or America and they learn in English on other modules done at that international university. So you can do it either way. You can do you can do research, or you can do modules in the same way as you would as if you're at Leicester.
Actually, just is that year assessed as part of your overall degree?
No, it's purely for student experience, for student development, and the fun, frankly.
I can actually, I did do one many years ago, a year abroad, and if anyone's considering it, I'd say absolutely do it. It is a fantastic experience. It really is.
Similarly, we offer years in industry. I did a year in industry in mine. I think if I hadn't, I wouldn't be working in science. It was the most exciting thing I ever did, and it just spurred me forward to become a scientist.
Excellent. Right. Another further question is, what would a week's timetable look like?
Okay, well, if you were coming next week, it might look very different to when you're coming in 2021. I hope by 2021 COVID would have been sorted out, but the idea is that at the moment we're working on a very, very flexible scheme, which hopefully won't apply to you. In a normal year, what would happen is year one, you would have about 6 hours of practicals a week. You would have probably about 6 practicals. You may have a couple of 2-hour tutorials, and the rest of the time is guided independent study or preparing your assessments. There is time to do a part-time job around that, but you're not allowed by the university to work more than 15 hours a week. So I know you've got other commitments, and who knows, maybe we'll take some of the blended learning from this year into next year, and then that will give you more time to judge your own time and do your work in your own time. But yes, we normally say to people, consider it a 37.5 a week job, including all your private independent study.
Thank you very much. Another question from Sarah, which is very specific about an access course in healthcare, whether she's eligible to apply to the courses with that qualification.
I'll leave Sally to answer that one. I'm not an expert on the access course.
We don't actually normally take the access to healthcare, but I would encourage you to email into bsadmin@le.ac.uk, and we can have a look at more detail at the programme you might be taking.
Thank you, Sally. A couple more have just popped up, so we'll go and get through those. We've got 5 minutes to go, so we should be able to get through these. If you go on a placement year, I presume that's a year in industry, do you get a salary? That's a good question.
Personally, I think that anyone who's working, doing the job of somebody who wouldn't normally contribute to a lab's effort should be paid, yes. We do normally try to source placements that are paid. However, some people really want to do a placement that isn't paid, and they have the funds to do it, then we will not stop them doing it. But obviously, we would much prefer work done to be paid.
Okay, I think another question has come in, which might require some clarification, is do you have to have a PhD to conduct your own research? Obviously, I understand that there is a research element in the final year of the course anyway. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, everyone in the school will have to do a research project in their final year. So, as Sally said, sometimes these are experimental research projects, sometimes they're analytical research projects. And at the beginning, of course, you won't be able to do that research on your own because you won't have the skills, you won't have the knowledge of the techniques or the ethics and the process of doing research. So that's why you do this final year project. If you wanted to do your own research with your own ideas, then I think, yes, you probably would need to have a PhD. You would need to do a number of postdocs after you've done your PhD to broaden your knowledge, get your understanding of how to write grant applications, and then you'd have to get your own funding to actually do that research. So it is quite a long process, but at the end of it, you end up doing your own research. So the people who are teaching you would have started like you as a pre-undergraduate who are now doing their own research. So yes, you do need a PhD to do your own research in most cases.
Right, thank you for that. You may be wondering, when Colin is giving his answers, you still get to see my face on the screen. It's Colin's camera's frozen, so therefore you get to see me instead. I hope that's not too much of a problem. Another question was, with regards to the year in industry, do you apply in your second year, or do you apply at the start of the course?
I do apologise for my camera freezing. I hope I haven't got my mouth open or anything horrible like that.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I've even forgotten what the question. Moving now. Hello. Could you repeat the question, Sam? Sorry. So
if you intend to do a year in industry, do you apply for that in the start of the course or in the second year of your course? Okay,
in the second year of your course, there's a special course that we've put on, which doesn't carry any credits. You don't get any marks from it. But what happens is that you do the course, and it gives you the professional skills to be able to apply for placements, which are competitive. So there is a course there, and you do apply in the second year, yes, and there will be help in making those applications from both the school and the Career Development Service.
Excellent, thank you very much. We've got time for a couple more questions. We've got a further one here. Do all of the bioscience and medical bioscience courses allow a transfer to medicine, or is it just some of them?
That's all of them. So every course that we offer after the end of the first year will allow a transfer to medicine.
Excellent. I keep popping the questions are popping in very quickly here. If you do the biomedical science with a foundation year program, can you still transfer to medicine? So if you do the foundation year course, can you also transfer to medicine from that?
You have to do the first year of biological sciences and then apply after the first year of biological sciences. But yes, there's no barrier to you there at all.
Okay, fantastic.
I should say that your A-levels will be scored, so that was part of the application process, but it won't prevent you from applying if you get your 70% in year one. Okay, and
I'm back. We have. Do you have any tips regarding personal statements and what a student might or a candidate might want to put on there?
Go on, Sally.
We're just looking for you to show a genuine interest in science. So if there's anything that's particularly interested you, or you've got any experience that you'd like to share with us, I really enjoy reading your personal statements. But to be fair, for Leicester, although we really enjoy looking at them, we do tend to focus on what you've already achieved and your predicted grades.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd say is that that slide that I showed about citizen to change, we're looking for some of those qualities as well, people who are going to be able to contribute in the future. We want to develop people to be able to become one of those citizens of change.
Right, I think that draws the presentation to a close. So thanks to everyone for attending today, and thanks to Colin and Sally for their presentation. I hope everyone found it useful. If we haven't got round to answering your question, or you've just thought of something that we haven't had a chance to cover, there's still about 15 minutes left of the drop-in chat available. Runs till 1 o'clock. So if you head over to there, you can type your question in there, and someone will be on hand to answer it. In terms of moving forward, there's a few live presentations at 1 PM. I'll just check my schedule here. There's talks about accommodation, about personal statements, which is just relevant to the last question we had, and also about Ignite, which is the kind of the teaching approach we're using at the moment. And as Colin mentioned, we might be taking forward some of those principles to the course in future. In the meantime, well, thank you very much for taking part. Thank you very much for attending. I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the day, and we hope to see you very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.